1 Kings 11, chapter 31 says this, and he said to Jeroboam, who's his servant, take for yourselves 10 pieces, for thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, behold, I will tear the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon and give you 10 tribes. This is the first indication of something incredibly prophetic that is going to connect back to the blessing that was split. This is the moment. How many remember that there was a cloth, a robe that was split, and it was torn into 10 pieces? 12, really. 10 that went to the servant of Solomon. It was supposed to go to his son. So 10 tribes. This is going to be important. Why did he split it? Because they've forsaken me and worshipped Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and have not walked in my ways to do what is right in my eyes and keep my statutes and my judgments as he did to Father David. So here's what we go. When I lived in my house, how many had a dad that had something like this? At some point in your life, you as a son looked up to your dad on the ground, most likely on your back, and he said, son, if you want to play by my rules, you want to live in my house, you're going to play by my rules. It's like that in our own relationships. It's the same way with Yahweh. And he said, sons, if you're not going to play by my rules, you're out of my house. And he began to tear away the kingdom from Solomon, and he gave 10 tribes to his servant Jeroboam. So then the 10 tribes in the north were called the house of Israel, the house of Joseph, or just plainly Ephraim, because that's who got the blessing. Melo Goyim, the fullness of the Gentiles, the fullness of the nations. So this has become critical. Now, from this moment on, if you were sleeping, everybody wake up, because at this point, everything is going to change. The northern kingdom was called the house of Israel, or the house of Joseph, or Ephraim. 2 tribes in the southern kingdom were called the house of Judah, because Judah received the firstborn blessing. So it was made up of mainly Judah and Benjamin. Okay? And although there were tribes that lived on both sides of the border, the majority of the tribes in the south were Benjamin and Judah, and so it was called the house of Judah in the south and the house of Israel in the north.